What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. And as you guys know, today in this video, I'm not going to talk about the technicality of spoken English. I've already made a lot of videos related to this. That, but all are the required things that if we do on a daily basis, we can become an English speaker. We can start speaking English because speaking English has still been, it is still a big issue for most of the people. Uh, and I always talk about I'm sorry. I always talk about this thing in my video that in order to become a speaker, we'll have to practice speaking. Uh, we have to just listen as much as we can, and then we have to speak as much as we can. Right. Uh, I was watching a video yesterday, and there was a lady speaking in that video, and she was also talking related to English thing only, how we can become a speaker or a better speaker. And she said that before training our mouth, we will have to train our ears, because once our ears get trained properly, then only we can speak English through our mouth. And she also gave a very good example that can you sing a song that you have never heard of, any song that you have never listened to, can you sing that song? And it quickly resonated with me, and it quickly, I could make complete sense of that thing, that she's absolutely right, because I knew it, whatever, the concept that she talked about, that you will have to train your ears, you will have to listen to a lot of English, before being able to speak this language. I already knew this concept, but the example she gave, it uh, just quickly, got stuck in my head, and it made absolute sense to me, that she said, can you sing a song that you have never heard? So in order to sing a song, we generally sing songs just to entertain ourselves, just to feel better and stuff like that. Most of the people, are like this. I'm a big fan of songs and music, and I like singing songs to myself, or with myself, whatever is the right sentence. Right, so I enjoy it a lot, but I can sing those songs only that I have heard so far, and multiple times I've heard them. Right, it's not, you can't sing a song just by listening to it once. Generally it doesn't happen, before speaking, before singing a song, you generally listen to that particular song multiple times. Similarly, in order to start speaking English, we have to first listen to a lot of English, and then only it gets feed it in our head properly, and then only start speaking this language. So the goal is simple: if you want to become a speaker, listen to a lot of English on a daily basis, or at least some English on a daily basis, and start speaking as well. Don't think like, oh, for the first month I will listen to English only, and then I will start speaking English. No, whatever English see, trust me, you already know some amount of English, or some good amount of English. Everybody knows a lot of English, because everybody has studied English at least on school level, and we all, I'm assuming we all have crossed school, right? We all have studied our entire school, or at least some classes of school, like maybe till at least sixth, seventh, eighth, right? So even till seventh or eighth, also, we study some good amount of English, some good amount of grammar and everything, which is way more than what even the fluent English speakers know. I've already mentioned this thing, and it's a fact that most of the fluent English speakers and the native English speakers, they don't have any idea about grammar, because grammar is not required to become a speaker. That's a reality, right? So we already know a good amount of English. That's the point, and you just have to speak. Don't think like, oh, first my vocabulary reaches up to this level, or my grammar reaches up to this level, or I listen to English on a daily basis for a month or two, or for 6 months, then only I will start speaking. Trust me, it won't benefit you. You just have to start speaking today. Even if you speak for a minute or two, just start speaking today. All right, so the main point is not technicality, as I mentioned earlier, at the time of start of this video. uh, I've already said that I ordered some storybooks for myself, because I have a lot of what do you call it, self-help books, but I had almost no storybooks. So that's why I ordered some kids storybooks, because I just wanted to read some tiny thin books, so which I can complete in a matter of few minutes only. And this is not a single book, these are 10 books, right? So it is as thick or as thin as a greeting card only, right? It's a very thin book, hardly 5 6 pages. And uh, this is how these storybooks look, big images and some texts to narrate the story or to tell you the story. So yesterday, day before yesterday, I read this Aladdin and the Magic Lamp. Of course, I already had idea about the Aladdin story, but when I read it for the first time in English, definitely the experience was good. It's a good story. It's a very short story mentioned in this book because it is designed for kids only, specifically for maybe 4 or 5 year or maybe from 4 or 5 years, or maybe from 3 years till 8 or 10 years old. So it is made for those kids only. But I really liked it. Very short story, that you can finish in maybe 5 minutes, maybe 4 minutes. Yes. Yesterday I read this Aladdin. I'm sorry, Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. We all know almost. I'm assuming almost we guys all know, or almost all of us already know what this story is all about. Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. It's all about. I will try to narrate the story, although I won't go into the detail because some of the details that even I don't remember if I have to narrate this complete story. But Alibaba and the 40 Thieves is basically about Alibaba and his brother. Uh, so Alibaba is in this story is a very poor guy. He's a woodcutter, and his brother, he has an elder brother, Kasim, who is a merchant and who does decently well. Kasim is married and Alibaba is probably not married. Now what happens is one day, Alibaba is chopping off the wood from the tree, and then he sees a group of people moving towards the cave on their respective horses. And one of the leaders of those robbers, because eventually he realized that all of them are robbers only. So one of the robbers, who seems to be the leader of that group, he goes towards the cave, and he just utters some mantra, some words, open sesame, as we know, khulja sesame. So he says open sesame, as mentioned in this story. So as soon as he says open sesame, the door opens of that cave. The big rock, which is acting like a door, it just slides off towards the right or left, whatever the direction was. And the cave basically opens, and all of them just move inside. And after a while, they just come outside with some sacks of jewelry and everything, and they just leave the place. And Alibaba was seeing all that thing while hiding behind a tree, or maybe he had already climbed the tree, because he was a bit scared of those robbers. He didn't want to come in their eyes and stuff. So after they leave the place, so Alibaba just moves towards that cave. And because he had already heard that those words to open that cave. So Alibaba says the same thing, open sesame, and to his wonder, to his surprise, the cave opens up. And he enters into the cave, and he looks at all the jewelry and everything, and he feels so, he's basically into ecstasy, right? He feels so ecstatic. And what he does is that he already has a sack behind him. So he just fills that sack with all the jewelries and gold coins and everything, and he just fills it. And again he says open sesame, again the door opens of the cave, and he just moves outside, and he goes back to his home. His brother's wife gets to know that, okay, Alibaba is he has now become rich, and he has got some gold coins and jewelry and everything, but I don't know from where. So she tells the same thing to her husband Kasim, that's Alibaba's elder brother. So Kasim comes to Alibaba and asks about this scenario. So Alibaba tells each and everything to Kasim. So what Kasim does is, Kasim alone goes to the cave, and he also says open sesame, as they had already a discussion related to this. So Kasim enters into the cave, and he also he's carrying a lot of sacks with him, a lot of bags with him, and he fills all these items. And what happens is, that because he was so overwhelmed by a lot of jewelry and everything, and again he was in that ecstasy of all that experience. What happens is that while moving outside of the cave, he forgets those words which were required to open that cave, and he just completely forgets it. What happens is that now he is pretty much confused and he's trying to recall those words, but nothing is working for him. And in the meanwhile, the robbers come inside the cave and they just look at Kasim, and what they do is they tie Kasim with the ropes and everything, and they put a piece of cloth into his mouth so that he can't speak anything, and they just leave the cave. Now the time has passed, a lot of time has passed, and Qasim's wife is now looking so worried, and she goes to Alibaba and tells the scenario to Alibaba, and Alibaba quickly recognizes, quickly realizes that something may go wrong with his brother Qasim, because he had gone to the cave, and because he already knew about the robbers also, so he just anticipates the situation to be this only, and he quickly moves to the cave, and there he finds his brother, and definitely they untie him, they unleash him, and they just move back to their house. Now what happens is when those robbers, those thieves, come back to the cave, and they see what they see, no Kasim there, and they quickly realize that other than Kasim there is someone else also who has maybe the idea of this particular cave and how to enter and everything. Now what they do is they go to the town where Alibaba used to live and everything, and they kind of make a plan to find out Kasim, because they knew about Kasim's face only, and they had no idea about Alibaba. Alibaba. So those thieves just start asking questions from the neighborhood people, and tell the structure and the face and every the features basically to all the people, and eventually they get to know the house of Qasim. So one of the robbers move towards the house of Qasim, and he asks about whether Qasim is there or not. I think Qasim's wife, or maybe Qasim's uh, employee was there, who says yes, it's Qasim's house only, and because he had no idea that who that person was, whether it was a robber or what. So as soon as that robber realizes that yes, this is the house of Qasim, so what that guy does is, what the robber does is that he puts some mark on the door of that house, just to recognize, so that, because he just wanted to tell the same thing to his leader, uh, to finally come back with the entire group, and to take away all this jewelry and everything that the Qasim had stolen from the cave. Now what happens is, as soon as he marks that he marks the door and moves back, I don't remember whether it was wife or it was the employee of Qasim. Whoever there was, he or she quickly realizes that maybe something is wrong, and stuff like that. Why has he put this mark on the door and everything? So what they do is that in the night time they put same mark or similar mark at each and every single door of all the houses of that particular town, or of that particular neighborhood. So the next day, when the leader and all the thieves arrive in the town, what they see is that all the doors are looking similar, because they had created a kind of landmark just by putting a single mark, but now that mark is everywhere on each and every single door. Now they get confused. Okay. Uh, Now their efforts to find out Qasim increase, and eventually they get to find out the house of Qasim. Right. This is what they have mentioned in the story. Now what they do is that the leader uh, come to the house of Qasim while portraying himself as a merchant, who deals in oil barrels. And I don't know what kind of scenario happens, or what happens, that this guy, what do you call it? Yeah, uh, the leader of these thieves, uh, he kind of convinces Alibaba and his entire family to be one of their known or something. So he basically uh, now spends an entire night at their home, and while keeping all the barrels of oil at his home only. What happens is that there are almost 41 barrels, and in all those barrels are the thieves and not the oil. Now, one of the barrels only has oil, and the remaining of the barrels have thieves hidden inside. Okay. Now, in the night time, again, the wife of Qasim, or maybe that employee of Qasim. I just have to check it again. Maybe it was the employee of Qasim only. That was a smart guy. You can consider him or her to be the Birbal of the story. You can say the smart guy, the wise guy. He quickly recognizes that there is only one barrel that is containing oil, and remaining of the barrels have people inside, right? Because in the night time, he gets to hear some of the whispering going on in those barrels. So that's how he realizes that, okay, there are people inside these barrels. So what he does is that he takes oil from that single barrel in which oil was there. He takes some good amount of oil in a big container, and he boils it hard. So when it gets so damn hot, unbearably hot, of course, 100 degrees or maybe even beyond 100 degrees. So what he does is that he starts putting oil gradually, some of the oil, into each and every single barrel where those thieves were hidden. Now, as soon as the oil enters into those barrels and penetrates into those barrels, the thieves start feeling uncomfortable, and they just come outside shouting, and that chaos, that chaotic environment happens. And then uh, the entire family and everybody gets to realize that these are not the barrels of oils but of humans, and people are hidden inside it with some evil motive. And that's how even the leader also starts feeling uncomfortable, and those thieves also just start running away, because all their plan was revealed. Their evil plan was revealed. So this is how they just run away, and then they never come back. I don't know why they would never come back, or why they never came back, as this story mentions. Let me tell you the ending part of this as well. Morgiana was the employee. Morgiana went around till she came to the barrel with oil. She took oil from the barrel in a container and boiled it. Then she poured the hot oil into every barrel. Each one of the robbers jumped out looking for water to save themselves. Hearing the noise, everyone else came, watching this man flee. The leader fled too. Watching his men flee, the leader fled too means, when the leader saw his fellow robbers, or his disciples, in a way, disciple, although is a very positive term. When he saw his disciples running away, the leader also fled. He also ran away. Morgiana said to Ali Baba, they were the robbers in disguise. They were the robbers in disguise means they were portraying themselves as I mean, the leader was portraying those barrels to be filled with oil, but instead it was filled with what? It was filled with the robbers only. So they were basically portraying themselves to be someone else. So they were robbers in disguise. Ali Baba thanked her for saving his life and rewarded her. So now this story ends here. But those thieves and the leader, they ran away. I can understand they felt uncomfortable and stuff like that, because when the other robbers, all the robbers fled and they ran away. So what would the leader single-handedly do? So he also ran away. That's an okay sort of thing. I understand that there's a logic, there's a strong logic there. But won't they ever come back? Or won't they come back, or would they forget? Will they forget? See, I also made this mistake. Everybody makes mistake. Grammatically, mistakes happen, because I'm not a good speaker, and whoever is not absolutely top notch and is taking his or her time, we all make mistakes. Just that I'm quite observant about my mistakes. Most of the people who speak very good English, they generally are not observant. And See, I'm observant about this particular mistake. It's not that I'm observant about every damn mistake, because I must have made a lot of mistakes. So being observant doesn't mean that you are observant about every damn mistake. It, your observation skills might be up to a level where you are able to observe some of the mistakes and not all the mistakes. Right. So there are definitely different grades. Yeah. So the point was, will they never come back, or have they forgotten, or will they forget it easily? How much, how big of a dent you have given to the robbers, because you have stolen their hidden jewelry and gold coins and money and whatnot, right? But the story ends here, because again, it is written for the children and everything, and they don't want to go into a lot of details or anything. So I understand, I respect that. 20 minutes already, I didn't realize it, to be very honest. Thank you so much, guys. I really hope something was of some help to you, and it really shapes up your future and your life, your growth positively. If you want to have a one-on-one conversation, one-on-one speaking practice with me, the links are in the description, in the pinned comment. Please check that out. And if you want to say any damn thing, please leave that down into the comments. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.